Check the Chullin Perek Chamishi Oisav Es Beno Daf Pei Beis 82a1. V'omar Rabbi Shimon Lakish, and to explain what moment of fitness the Porah Aduma had, meaning that there was a time that the meat was permitted. Rabbi Shimon Porah Nifdes Al Gav Marachto. Porah Aduma may be redeemed even after it was slaughtered upon its wood pyre. Rabbi Shimon considers the meat of slaughtered Porah Aduma fit for consumption. How can our Mishnah list the slaughter among those which Rabbi Shimon holds that the slaughterer not liable because his slaughter is unfit? There was a moment of fitness. Omar Rav Shemen Barabba, Omar Rabbi Yechon, Rav Shemen Barabba said in the name of Rabbi Yechon, Poras Chatos Eino Mishnah. The quotation of our Mishnah regarding Porah Aduma is not an authentic part of the Mishnah. Eino Mishnah, it's not part of the Mishnah. The mentioning of Porah Aduma should be deleted from the text. That's what Rashi said. Tana, who taught our Mishnah, considered the slaughter of a Porah Aduma unfit because he rejects Rabbi Shimon's view that anything that stands to be redeemed is legally considered, as it were, already redeemed. Ve'egla rufo lav shchita rui, and is the slaughter of an egla rufo indeed considered a slaughter that is not fit? Ratnan, we learned in a Mishnah, nimtza hirig ad shelo yiteoref ha'egla. If the murderer was found at any point before the calf was decapitated. The only reason we are decapitating the calf is because the murderer is not known, is not to be found. But what happened if on the way to decapitate the egla, the calf, you found the murderer?
You don't slaughter the animal. The calf.
It says, the ritual is discontinued, and the calf goes out and grazes with the flock. It is permitted for any use, despite the fact that it had been designated as an egla ufa. We see that an egla ufa is permitted for any use before its decapitation, and accordingly, if it is slaughtered, it is fit for consumption. How can our Mishnah list its slaughter among those that are unfit? This point is conceded. Amar Rabbi Shimon Lakish Rabbi Yanai. Rabbi Shimon Lakish said in the name of Rabbi Yanai, Egla Rufa Eino Mishnah. The same thing, the same answer, that you have to delete it from the Mishnah. Egla Rufa is not an authentic part of our Mishnah. The Gemara wonders, Umi Omar Rabbi Yanai Achi. Did Rabbi Yechon actually say this? Omar Rabbi Yanai Gevul Shomati Ba V'Shochachti. Rabbi Yanai actually said, I heard once, what is the dividing line regarding when a calf designated for decapitations assumes the forbidden status of an egla ufa, but I forgot what it is. Meaning there's a line. Once it crosses the line, that's it. It's not going back. Benos and Chavra Leimar and the colleagues in the study hall reason on their own to say, Yeridoso Nachal Eson Yisarta. Its descent into the rock hard valley is what makes it forbidden for all benefit. So now, in fact, Rabbi Yanai was asked about the apparent contradiction between our Mishnah and the cited Mishnah. Listening, he should have answered, Kan Chedim Yeridosa, Kan Nachar Yeridosa. Here in the cited Mishnah, we are dealing with a case where the murderer was found before the calf's descent into the rock-hard valley. Whereas here in our Mishnah we are dealing with a case where the calf was slaughtered after its descent into the hard rock valley. Why should Rabbi Yanai have stated that our Mishnah's text is erroneous? The Gemara therefore revises the attribution of the previous statement. Amar Pinchas berei de Rav Ami anan mishmei de Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish masnin. We learned this answer in the name of Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish alone, and not as having been said by him in the name of Rabbi Yanai. Egla Ufa Eina Mishnah. The quotation of our Mishnah regarding Egla Ufa is not an authentic part of the Mishnah. This attribution too is questioned. When we were in Rav Papi's academy, we asked, did Rabbi Shimon Lakish actually say this? Right, but it was stated, at what point do the birds of a Mitzorah becomes prohibited for benefit? Rabbi Yochanan said, the bird that is slaughtered becomes prohibited from the time of its slaughter. Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish said both birds are prohibited from the time of their taking. From the time both birds are designated for the ritual. My time with Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish. What is the reasoning of Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish? It is that he derives the law of these birds through the Gezerah Shava of taking from the case of Egla Rufa. Just as an Egla Rufa becomes prohibited for benefit while it is alive from the time of its descent into the rock-hard valley, so too the Mitzorah birds become prohibited for benefit only while they are alive. We see that according to Rish Lakish, the Egla Rufa does become forbidden for benefit during its lifetime. It follows that if the Egla Rufa designate is slaughtered after its descent into the rock-hard valley, its meat is prohibited and the slaughter is considered unfit. Since our Mishnah can be explained as referring to this case, how can you attribute to Rish Lakish the assertion that the mention of Egla Rufa in our Mishnah is not authentic? The Gemara therefore revises the attribution of the statement yet again. Quotation in our Mishnah regarding Egla Rufa is not an authentic part of the Mishnah, but they said it in the name of Rabbi Chia. In the name of Rabbi Yochanan. A new Mishnah. The Mishnah discusses a ramification of the rule that the law of Esav es Benoi, it and its offspring prohibits someone from slaughtering an animal even if another person slaughtered its parent or offspring that day. Meaning that Reuven shechted the mother, and it's still Shimon is prohibited to shecht the son, even though it's not the same person. The rule still applies.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Meaning that you're not allowed to do it. Shnaim shelokhu poveno, regarding two people who bought a cow and its offspring from one person on one day. Ezer shelokach rishon ishchet rishon. Whoever bought first may slaughter first, and the second buyer must wait until the next day to slaughter his animal. But if the second buyer preceded the first and slaughtered his animal that day, he has gained the right to eat its meat. So now the first one is stuck, he has to wait. The Mishnah was taught in regard to judgment in court, not ritual law. It says in 22, the law of Esav es Benoi does not dictate who may slaughter first, nor does it require the second buyer, Shimon, to investigate whether the first buyer, Reuven, intends to slaughter that day. As long as Reuven has not notified him of his intention, Shimon may proceed with the slaughter of his animal, even though this will compel Reuven to postpone the slaughter of his animal. Moreover, Shimon does not have to be concerned that Reuben already slaughtered that day, and the slaughter of Shimon's animal is prohibited. Tano, it was taught in the Baisem Kodam Sheini, if the second buyer, Shimon, preceded the first and slaughtered his animal that day before Reuben, he is considered expeditious, and he profits. He is always.
The early bird gets the worm.
Zor is the loyava de sur, meaning he was fast. He is rewarded for his being fast. Like to be to do things quickly. Because he did quickly, he doesn't have to. He's rewarded for it. He profits. Zor is the loyava de sur. He is considered expeditious, for he slaughtered his animal, yet did not commit a transgression. And he profits that he can eat the meat that day, which he would not have been able to do if the first buyer had slaughtered before him. A new Mishnah. The Mishnah discusses cases involving multiple slaughters of it and its offspring. If one slaughtered a cow and then slaughtered its two calves that same day, Seifik Shmeini incurs 80 lashes. If he slaughtered its two calves and then slaughtered the cow that day, Seifik incurs only 40 lashes. If he slaughtered a cow, its daughter, and its granddaughter, its daughter's daughter, on one day, Seifik Shmeini incurs 80 lashes. But if he first slaughtered a cow and its daughter's daughter, meaning he skipped the daughter, he went straight to the granddaughter, and then slaughtered its daughter that day, Seifik Esarboim incurs only 40 lashes. Sumchu Seifik Shmeinim, Sumchu says in the name of Abi Meir, he incurs 80 lashes. Okay? So we have interesting cases about one who shechts the mother and the two sons in one time. The order makes a big difference of how he did it. The order. If he shechts the sons before the mother,
80.
No, that's 40.
It's difficult to remember.
No, once you have to understand the logic behind it, because it doesn't say not to shecht two brothers on the same day.
Only one.
It just says not to shecht the mother and the son.
Right.
So if he shechted two brothers, he didn't do a violation. But if he shechted the mother and then the two sons, then he did oisaves benoi twice. So therefore he gets 80. But now what about the granddaughter or the grandson?
Then if he does it first, then he's pater.
If he did the grandson, he did the grandson first. Nothing, and then he did the daughter, then it's only getting 40. But according to Sumchus, he gets 80. We'll soon see why. It says that his reasoning will be explained in the Gemara. The Gemara questions the ruling if one slaughtered calves, not one, he shechted two, and then slaughtered the mother that day, he incurs 40 lashes. Amai. Why does he incur malchus? It says oisoi ves benoi, meaning the mother and then its son. It doesn't say it the other way around. Why should he be liable to begin with for anything? If you follow the words of the Torah, it says the mother and the son. It doesn't say the son and the mother. Up till now, whenever we spoke about it, because all the cases that we spoke previously, it didn't make a difference who we did first.
Does offspring mean only direct offspring? It doesn't mean like your grandchildren or your.
But that's another discussion. Maybe it also applies to the grandson or granddaughter. Amai oisaves beno yomach monoveloi beno v'oiso. He did not forbid us to slaughter its offspring and then it. The Gemara says, this distinction should not enter your mind. Why? The time it was taught in Abaisa, oisaves beno, when the Torah says, when the Torah forbids the slaughter of it and its offspring on one day, I know only that we are forbidden to slaughter an animal and then its offspring on the same day. From where it is derived that we also may not slaughter an animal and then its mother on the same day. When it states the plural form, you shall not slaughter. Leisishchat is the singular. Leisishchat is plural. There are two slaughterers mentioned here who are forbidden to perform the shchita that they might desire. HaKeitzad, how is this matter to be explained? The verse must mean that if one person slaughters a cow, another slaughters its mother, and yet another slaughters its offspring, the last two slaughterers are liable for violation of it and its offspring. We learn that slaughtering a parent and its offspring on one day is prohibited regardless of which of them is slaughtered first. So we learned it for lois ishchatu.
Okay, now I'm thinking something. Okay, so he slaughtered a mother, and he got two calves. So he got two shachas. So one guy.
No, that doesn't. We learned before from the case of Reuben and Shimon that two people are buying. One guy buys the mother, one guy buys the son. They're still liable. They're still obligated.
No, but I'm saying, let's say you have multiple calves. So, and he sells the calves to two different people. Reuben and Shimon buy.
Right.
Reuben buys one, Shimon buys the other. And they both shecht it. The mother's already gone today. And they Reuben shechs and Shimon shechs. Shouldn't they both be chayiv?
Both should be chayiv, yeah. The Gemara wonders about the Braisa's exposition. The verse, you shall not slaughter, is needed for itself, to teach the basic prohibition against slaughtering it and its offspring on one day. If so, let the merciful one write lois ishchot. The slaughter, the singular form, you shall not slaughter. My lois ishchatu. What is the purpose of writing the plural form lois ishchatu? It must be lois ishchatu, come to teach the novel rule that if one person slaughters a cow, another slaughters its mother, and yet another slaughters its offspring. The last two slaughterers are both liable, including the one who slaughtered the mother after her offspring. But still the plural form of the verse is necessary, because for if the merciful one had written the singular form lois ishchot, I might have said that if one person slaughters an animal and its offspring on one day, yes, he is liable. But if two people combine, like the case that you mentioned, but if two people combine to slaughter an animal and its offspring on one day, no, there is no liability, because the merciful one therefore wrote the plural form, to teach that even when two people combine to slaughter a parent and its offspring on one day, the latter slaughter is liable. Even if it's two people. Imkein, lichtov lo yishchatu. So if that's the case, the plural form of the verse comes to teach only this rule, then let the merciful write, lo yishchatu. They shall not be slaughtered, with the plural form referring to the animals, This would have taught that a parent and offspring may not be slaughtered on one day by either a single person or two people. Mai lo yishchatu. What is the purpose of writing lo yishchatu? You, plural, shall not slaughter, referring in the plural form to two slaughterers who are both liable. Shmami notarte. Learn from this verse two laws. First, learn that a parent and offspring may not be slaughtered on one day, even by two different people. Number one. And number two, second, learn that if one person slaughters a cow, another slaughters its mother, and yet another slaughters its offspring, the last two slaughterers are both liable. We learn that even when the offspring is slaughtered before the parent, the latter slaughterer has violated of Esav es Benoi. The Mishnah stated, Shochato v'esbat bito. If he slaughtered a cow and its daughter's daughter, he went to the granddaughter and then slaughtered its daughter that day, he incurs only 40 lashes. Sumchu says, in the name of Rabbi Meir, he incurs 80 lashes. We need to understand why. My time of the Sumchus, what is Sumchus' reasons for holding that the slaughter liable to two Malchus penalty for 80? Kasova Sumchus. Just so you know, there's no such a thing as 80. Obviously you get 40 and then they would wait for the guy to be able to handle the next set. He doesn't get, there's no such a thing as getting 80 lashes in one day.
Plus 240s.
39, no,
Yeah.
the maximum is 39.
Yeah, they call it 40, but in reality it has to be an odd number, so always be, even if physically, we're talking about the liability that he incurs, not necessarily that he's capable of getting it. Could be that we would say he's liable to 80, but in reality he would get one set of 3 and another set of 3, because his body cannot take it. You don't want to kill him. My time of the Sumchus, Kasova Sumchus Ochal Shnei Zeisi Chelev Be'elam Echod Chayav Shtei Chatois. If one ate 2 olive volumes of Chelev in a single lapse of awareness, he is liable to 2 Chatos offering. This can explain why Sumchus hold that if one committed 2, it and its offspring, violations simultaneously, he is liable to 2 Malchus penalties. If this is Sumchus' reason, then his opinion is not limited to the case of Oisav es Benoi. Rather, he holds that one who commits 2 simultaneous violations of any prohibitions incurs 2 Malchus penalties. Uvedinu delishminan ba'alma. And accordingly, we must say that it would have been correct for the Mishnah to inform us Sumchus' opinion elsewhere. So what is Sumchus' reasoning so far? Why is he liable to 80? So we said he learns it from, he says the same rule applies to an individual who ate 2 olives volume of chelev, of forbidden fat, in one shot. Okay? So if one ate 2 olives volume of chelev in a single lapse of awarenesses, he is liable to 2 chatos offering. By the Kamash Mulan, and this informs us his opinion in the case, that it informs us his opinion in this case, to inform you the strength of the opinion of the rabbis, namely by focusing on the case of Esav es Benoi. The Mishnah teaches us that even though it can be argued that the multiple violations come about through separate bodies, the rabbis exempt the violator from more than one Malchus penalty. The Abai continues, Oy dilma kasova sumchus ochash nezei sichel belam echod enochai velo achas. Or perhaps sumchus hold that if one ate 2 olive volumes of chelev in a single lapse of awareness, he is liable to only 1 chatus offering. And here, in the case of Ch5 Benoi, it and its offspring, this is the reason that sumchus hold that multiple violator are liable to 2 malchus penalties, or il vegufim vechulokim, because over here it's 2 separate bodies. It is because he views the multiple violations as coming about through separate bodies. Omar lei, he said to Abaye, Ein, yes, kasova ochal shnezei seichel belamechot chav shte chatos. His sumchus hold that if he ate 2 olive volumes of chelev, he's liable in a single lapse of awareness, he's liable to 2 chatos offering. Mimai, from what do I infer that this is truly is simchus reasoning with the Tanya for that which was taught in a Baisa, Zirah kilaim kilaim leike. One who plants kilaim, a mixture of 2 seeds, right? He does it twice, incurs malchus. The double expression kilaim kilaim implies he planted kilaim twice. My leike, what is the meaning of incurs malchus? If you want to tell me that he's getting only 1 set of malchus, it's obvious. But my kilaim kilaim, and furthermore, what is the point of the double expression kilaim? Right? It's obvious that he is liable to 2 sets of malchus. What are we dealing with over here? If you say it is a case where he did one planting somewhat after the other with 2 separate warnings, then the Baisa does not need to inform us anything. That's obvious. Tanina, we already learned in the Mishnah, a Nozir who was drinking wine all day, but received only a single warning at the start of the day prior to his initial drink, Eino chayav elo achas, is liable to only 1 malchus penalty. But if they said to him, Amuloi al tishtevu sheit, they told him, do not drink, and he continued to drink. Continued drinking. Al tishtevu sheit, and they repeated, do not drink. And again he continued drinking. Chayav al kol achas ve'achas, he is liable to a separate malchus penalty for each and every one of his drinks.
You have to tell him that he can't drink.
Nozir.
But he knows.
But you have to warn him.
Why
In order for him to be liable, you have to warn him.
But he knows the rules, Rabbi.
Right? But maybe he doesn't know the penalty. You have to tell him. You know, if you're going to do this, you're going to he takes upon himself not to drink wine. But maybe he doesn't know the ramification of it. So you tell him. But if you said to him at the beginning of the day, he's liable only to 1, even if he drank throughout the day. But if you tell him every single time, he's now liable to al kol achas ve'achas, separate malchus penalty for each and every one of his drinks. Ela pshita v'vas achas u'vas achas. Rather, it is obvious that the Baisa refers to one who made 2 plantings of kilaim simultaneously, with only 1 warning for his 2 acts. Regarding this case, the Baisa teaches that he is liable to 2 malchus penalties. Mani, and whom does the Baisa follow? If you say it follows the rabbis who dispute sumchus, and rule in our Mishnah that one who commits 2 simultaneous Ch5 Benoi, it and its offspring, violation is liable only to 1 malchus penalty, I will retort, Hashto ma'asum de gufim mechulokim patri rabbanon. Now, even there in our Mishnah's case, where it can be argued that the violations come about through separate bodies, the rabbis exempt the violator from more than one malchus penalty. Here in the Braisa's case, where the violation clearly do not come about through separate bodies, it is not obvious that the rabbis exempt him from the second malchus penalty. How can the Braisa possibly follow the rabbis? Rather, it is not obvious that the Braisa is reflective of the opinion of Sumchus. This is my basis for saying that Sumchus holds a multiple violator liable for each and every violation, not only when the violation comes about through separate bodies, as in our Mishnah's case, but even when they do not come about through separate bodies. The Abaye rejects this proof. Abaye says, Loi, le'olam rabon. Actually, the Braisa follows the rabbis, and it deals with a case where the violator did one kilayim planting somewhat after the other, and he received a separate warning for each planting. As for your question, what the Braisa informs us, what is the Chiddush? It informs us something in passing. The Ika Trei Gavne Kilaim, namely there are two distinct types of Kilaim of the vineyard. For wheat with grape seed and barley with grape seed are each independently considered Kilaim of the vineyard. Ulapukim de Rabbi Yoshia, and the Braisa comes to preclude the opinion of Rabbi Yoshia, who maintains that there is only one type of kilaim of the vineyard. The Omar Rabbi Yoshia, Ad she'izra chito seiro v'chartzon b'mapeles yad. Rabbi Yoshia said, one is never liable for violating the prohibition against kilaim of the vineyard until he plants wheat, barley, and grapeseed in a single thrust of the hand. Simultaneously, Kamashmalan, to preclude this opinion, the Braita informs us, the Chizor Achita v'chartzon, Useiro v'chartzon nam mechayev, that if one plants wheat and grapeseed together, or barley and grapeseed together, he is also liable to malchus for having planted kilaim of the vineyard. The Gemara again attempts to prove that according to Sumchus, one who commits multiple violation of any prohibition in a single lapse of awareness or after a single warning, he is liable to a penalty for each and every violation. Tashma, come learn a proof from the following Mishnah. Ochal mizeh kazais, mizeh kazais. If one ate an olive's volume of this one, the gid anoshe, the sciatic nerve, on animal's right side, and olive's volume of that side, the one on its left side. Soifeg shmoinim, he incurs 80 lashes. Two violations. Rabbi Yehuda says he incurs only 40 lashes. What is the case to which the Mishnah refers? If you said one happened after the other and there was two different warnings. My time of the Rabbi Yehuda. Why does Rabbi Yehuda says, what is Rabbi Yehuda's reason for holding the eater liable even one malchus penalty? Asura Sofiki. Why, according to Rabbi Yehuda, each of these warnings is an uncertain warning. And we have heard Rabbi Yehuda. We heard Rabbi Yehuda say that an uncertain warning is not considered a valid warning. It says in 29, as the Gemara, first 28, it says the Gemara below suggested Rabbi Yehuda is uncertain which of the two sinews is prohibited biblically and which is prohibited only rabbinically. The right is biblical and the left is not, or vice versa. Accordingly, when the sinner is about to eat from the first sinew, the witness cannot warn him with certainty that this act is prohibited on the pain of malchus, because maybe it's not biblical. Nor can they do so when he's about to eat from the other side. They can merely inform him that each act may be prohibited on the pain of malchus. So according to Rabbi Yehuda, when you have an uncertain warning, is not considered a valid warning. The Tanya,
Question.
I'd like to finish the page. We're pretty much
Just very
running
quickly.
out of time.
Very quickly. So we're talking about Shnei Eidim. Two witnesses have to warn him, right?
No, it could be the same witness, but it happens with a lapse. Like he did it, and then he waited, and then again he was about to
Be
do.
warned by Shnei Eidim, not one. Did we learn that?
No,
before?
you're saying about two different people. He needs
No,
to be. He
no.
needs to have two witnesses. Yeah,
So if he was only warned by...
could be the
by
same
one-
set. No, it's not. It's not a warning.
It's not a warning, okay.
Not a proper warning. So the Tanya, he goes if he struck this one and then struck one afterward. So in a case of a person who is in doubt, which of two men is his father? So you're not allowed to beat your father up, not allowed to do it to any person, but to your father is a greater liability, is liable to death if he does it, and it causes him to bleed. But if he's not sure which one is his father, two people, let's say, claiming that they are his father. If he struck this one and then struck one afterward, same thing with cursing. He cursed this one and then cursed that one afterward. Or he struck both of them simultaneously. Or he cursed both of them simultaneously. Ch5 is liable to death. Rabbi Yehuda said if he did it simultaneously, he is liable because he committed the offense after receiving a definite warning. But if he did it one after the other, if he strikes or curses one of them somewhat after the other, he is not liable because the capital offense could have been preceded only by an uncertain warning. So we see that according to Rabbi Yehuda, an uncertain warning is not considered a valid warning. The Gemara now returns to its analysis of the Mishnah. It stated above that since Rabbi Yehuda considers an uncertain warning invalid, if the Mishnah would infer to one who ate the two gid hanoshes sinews, the two sciatic nerves, one after the other, Rabbi Yehuda could not hold them liable to even a single malchus penalty. The analysis continues. Rather, it is obvious that the Mishnah refers to one who ate both gid hanoshes sinews simultaneously with one warning for his two acts. This is the case in which Rabbi Yehuda holds him liable to a single malchus penalty, and the Tana Kama holds him liable to two malchus penalties. Uman Tana Kama. Now, who is the Tana Kama? If you say it is the rabbis who dispute sumchus in our Mishnah, I will retort, now, if even there, in our Mishnah's case, where it can be argued that the violations come about through separate bodies, the rabbis exempt the violator from more than one malchus penalty, then here in the cited Mishnah's case, where the violations clearly do not come about through separate bodies, is it not obvious that the rabbis exempt him from the second malchus penalty? How can the Tana Kama possibly follow the rabbis? Elalav sumchusi. Rather, it is not clear that the opinion of the Tana Kama is that of sumchus. We see that sumchus holds a multiple violator liable for each and every violation, not only when the violations comes about through separate bodies, as in our Mishnah's case, but even when they do not come about through separate bodies. The proof is rejected. The Gemara says, Loi le'olam b'zeh achar zeh v'rabbanon. Actually, the Mishnah refers to a person who ate sinew somewhat after the other, and the Tana Kama follows the opinion of the rabbis who dispute sumchus. And as for your objection, that if so, how can Rabbi Yehuda hold the violator liable to even one Malchus penalty, I respond that this Tana who taught the Mishnah concurs with another Tana who taught a variant version of the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda. The Omar, Asra Sofik Shma Asra, there's an opinion that Rabbi Yehuda, that according to Rabbi Yehuda, an uncertain warning is considered a valid warning. The Gemara cites a variant version of Rabbi Yehuda's opinion. The Tanya, it was taught in a Braisa, Lo yisasiru mimenu ad beker. For scripture states regarding the Pesach offering, you shall not leave over from the meat until the morning, and whatever is left over from it until the morning you shall burn in fire. The pasuk comes to provide a positive commandment to burn the leftover following the prohibition of living over. To say that one does not incur malchus for violating the prohibition. Divri Rabbi Yehuda. These are the words of Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yaakov says this is not the reason that one does not incur malchus for living over part of an offering. The reason why he's not liable to malchus, because living over is a prohibition that does not involve an action. And one does not incur malchus for violating any prohibition that does not involve action. Rabbi Yehuda implies that if not for the fact that the pasuk provided a positive commandment to burn the leftovers, one would incur malchus for the sin of living over. Now, the warning that precedes this transgression can only be an uncertain one. We see that according to the Tana of this Braisa, Rabbi Yehuda considers an uncertain warning to be valid. Bruchim to you.
Rabbi, so it talks about 40 lashes being one malchus penalty, and then 80 being two malchus penalties. And he said it's like you separate 40 and 40. Now, if you say it's 40, then it's 30, really 39. So if you say it's 80 and it's 40 and 40, is it really 78 and not 80?
Yeah, it's 39, 39.
But if you say it's 80, if you say it's part of all one, wouldn't you just give him 79?
No, but it's for two different violations. Even though, it could be the same violations, but it happened one after the other. So it's violation X and violation Y. It's not the same.
Okay. You wouldn't count the
no, it's two different violations. And regarding to what you said, Rabbi Yaakov, you have to have two witnesses in order to incriminate him, to bring him to court, and then to actually apply the punishment. But two people don't have to utterly say it in front of him. I think that one guy can say it, but there's another witness that he was warned.
I'm not sure.
I think you have to have a witness that he was warned. Meaning you have to have two people if you want him to actually pay for
Maybe there has to be two sets of witnesses. Maybe one for Hatarah for the warning, and maybe you need two more witnesses. I don't know if they can be the same witnesses.
No, I think one is enough. You just have to have another person that hearing it, and then you have two people that are testifying.
Okay, so equals two.
Yeah.
Right, I see what you're saying. They don't both have to say it at the same time, as long as there's two people there.
Two people. In order for him to get the actual punishment, the Beis Din would want to hear that he was warned properly. And you need to have two people.